Please welcome Mr. Lee Anderson.
A grand unveiling, a defector from the Tories. A handful of Reform Party backers clapped him in.
Let's go have a quick photo of him.
And then Lee Anderson posed alongside the party leader, Richard Tice, a man Lee Anderson recently dismissed as a pound shop Nigel Farage.
He looks happier than you.
Who said that? He's not having an interview now. He's not having an interview. Can you see me? Can you all see me here? I want my country back. Over the last year or so, I've had to do a lot of soul searching on my political journey. And he was laughing. And I don't expect much in politics other than to be able to speak my mind and speak on behalf... Is that you, Harry, laughing? Speak on behalf of my friends, family and my constituents.
Lee Anderson's political journey has taken him from Labour to the Conservatives. Until 8 weeks ago, he was deputy chairman of the Tory party and a basher of reform.
Reform is not the answer. It leaves the door open for Sir Keir Starmer to get in number 10.
Yes or no, you're not going to join the Reform Party between now and the election?
No. Is that a straight enough answer?
I have to live with my conscience. My conscience is clear. When I go and see my parents yesterday on Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day, Mother, and they say to me, Lee, you need to join Reform. This country needs saving. We're absolutely fed up with what's happening on the streets of London. We're fed up with what's happening up and down the country. We're just fed up.
It's Lee Anderson, Member of Parliament for Ashfield, and I'm joined by our brilliant PM, Mr Sunak.
Only 2 months ago, Lee Anderson was talking up Rishi Sunak's achievements. Today, he painted a picture of Britain in decline.
Your new party leader, when he was doing the introduction, he said Britain's broken and the Tories broke it. Do you agree?
I think every party's broke it. It's not just the Tory party, it's the Labour party, it's Parliament, Gary. It's the whole of Parliament.
What he said, is it?
Oh, listen to what I have to say. It's the whole of Parliament, the whole system, the old democratic system in this country is rigged. It doesn't represent, really, what people are saying. They're talking about, you know, the crime on the streets, the shoplifting, the fact that you can't get a police officer turn up to your house if it gets burgled, the fact that people are pulling their own teeth out.
We're launching a movement to make sure those 2019 voters give us the support we need to win again.
The New Conservatives Tory pressure group Lee Anderson helped to launch issued a statement saying, "The responsibility for Lee's defection sits with the Conservative Party. We have failed to hold together the coalition of voters who gave us an 80-seat majority in 2019. We cannot pretend any longer that the plan is working. We need to change course urgently." Many read that as a call to arms for the plot to bring down Rishi Sunak. In his Ashfield constituency, some voters signalled they would follow Lee Anderson to his new party.
Wherever Lee Anderson goes, I go, because I believe in him and I believe in what he says.
I think he's done the right thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, what he said last few weeks ago, he said he wasn't going to go to Reform Party, didn't he? Just told a lie.
Don't like the man, don't like his politics, rather vote for Snoopy.
There is a political party that the people are that offered me a lot of money to join them. And I say a lot of money, I mean a lot of money.
Lee Anderson was recorded telling Tories that he'd been offered a lot of money in the past to defect to the Reform Party. Today, he categorically denied there was any money linked to his defection. His new party leader said more Tory MPs were in discussions to switch party.
Well, there were clearly elements of that grand unveiling that were a little messy. Maybe some lessons in stagecraft need to be learnt. And the Reform Party has got in Lee Anderson an acquisition who is not exactly always reliably on message. But they'll be looking at this as a major moment in the move of a party away from what Lee Anderson used to dismiss as a pressure group to something closer to a fully fledged party, because they have one MP. That doesn't get you a lot of profile in Parliament, but it will help the profile of the party. And the Reform Party feel this is a moment in the breaking up of the voter coalition that Boris Johnson pulled together in 2019 in order to get a big majority. Tonight, the New Conservatives message is being talked about a lot. You saw it in that piece, and the tone and language of it has upset some people who support the New Conservatives because they feel it sounds like it's firing a starting gun for that plot against Rishi Sunak. to bring him down, a plot that still has a pulse and which today's events will not have helped.
Gary, thanks very much. Well, a little earlier, I spoke to the former Conservative Party leader, Ian Duncan-Smith, and I began by asking him whether this defection calls into question the judgment of the Prime Minister.
Do you know what? That's almost always the line that's used every time somebody ever leaves the party. It's happened before, and I'm sure it'll happen again. He put him into the job because he thought he'd be effective, and he was effective for a period of time, but obviously, clearly, given all the circumstances, he's chosen to go.
It's a particular point when your party is doing particularly badly in the polls.
These things happen. The answer is to focus on what we want to do, which is to get the economy straight, make sure the inflation now comes down, make sure people are better off and start to earn more money through the tax reductions and also through increased competitiveness of business. So all these things are important and we must get on with those.
He was unapologetic about what he had said about the London mayor being controlled by Islamists. In a sense, is the party well rid of him at the moment, at a point when the Prime Minister acknowledges there is increasing tensions in the country?
Well, the Prime Minister has said there are increasing tensions. He's worried about extremism. This is a very difficult and delicate time, and we need to make sure that we measure up to it as a government and as a country.
Suella Braverman is still an MP. She said Islamist cranks are now in control of the streets. They're now in charge. We saw the former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, staying silent at an event when far-right activist Tommy Robinson was hailed a hero. I mean, what do you think this says about your party right now? But, you know, your former colleague, Baroness Varsi, says there is something rotten at the heart of the Conservative Party.
Well, I don't agree with her.
Islamist cranks on the street?
I don't agree with Baroness Varsi over this because I think there is, at the heart of this party, a government trying to get these things right. These are not easy, they're not simple. We're talking about extremism in whatever colour it forms and whatever part it comes from, but the reality is we have to measure up to that and deal with it.
So are you saying that Suella Braverman is right that Islamist cranks are on the street, they're in charge now?
No, I simply say that wherever there is extremism like this, wherever there's violence or threats of violence, the government's job is to crack down on it, make sure the police have the right powers and that we take the right action. That's what that's all about. Instead of shouting about it, we need to get on with it and do the right thing, and that's what matters in government. So I'm sorry to see him go, but I'm sorry I don't agree with him.
Lee Anderson is now outside the tent, as it were, but his defection has caused problems inside. The New Conservatives, led by your colleagues Danny Kruger and Miriam Cates, say today that the responsibility for Lee's defection sits with the party itself. We can no longer say the plan is working.
We make our own decisions in this political atmosphere. We decide what we do. We shouldn't blame others. If we choose to believe that we are no longer part of the Conservative Party, then that is our decision. It's not anybody else's alone. I've been through some pretty tough times in politics, and I've never tried to say that it is not my fault or not my decision or blame anybody else. My view is you shoulder the burden of making the decision.
On the question of responsibility, you know, something not entirely related, many people would say, to the issue of some of the language that's been used about Islamist cranks and so on. The Guardian is reporting that your biggest donor, Frank Hester, said the former Labour MP Diane Abbott made him hate all black women. He's the Conservative Party's biggest donors. He told colleagues that looking at Diane Abbott made you feel that she should be shot. I wonder what you make of that.
Well, any language that contains violence or racism, I condemn completely. I have no idea what you're asking me about because I've not seen these comments. All I can say to you is I do not support anything that attacks anybody on the feature of their colour or their race or their creed.
Yes, well, it does exactly that, doesn't it? It says looking at Diane Abbott made him hate all black women.
I've already made my position clear. I'm opposed to anything, absolutely condemn anything that uses racism or religion or people's ethnicity generally to attack. That is unquestionably wrong.
So in principle or hypothetically, should a party think about giving money back?
In principle or hypothetically means this question is non-existent.
Ian Duncan-Smith, thanks very much for talking to us today.
Pleasure.
Well, lawyers for Mr Hester's company have told The Guardian that his comments had been distorted and taken out of context and were not a true or accurate characterisation of Mr Hester.